Welcome to the 20th round of WTSS Season 7. We're at the Darlington Raceway in South Carolina, the Lady in Black. This 1 1/3 mile oval that's egg-shaped is one of the most unique challenges in all of motorsport. There's no other oval on the planet shaped quite like it. Turns 1 and 2, sending it absolutely flat out on high-speed, high-radius banking, and then getting it woed up for 3 and 4 in a tight, 2-lane wide, big braking zone through a very, very treacherous stretch through the lap. They give you drivers who hit the wall here get what is known as the Darlington Stripe, as it is almost a rite of passage to hit the wall around this track at least once at some point in your time here. Championship leader Ryan Reid comes into this race with a 31-point advantage, but with tonight being a diamond double race, Reid is under threat from not only the 3 drivers behind him, but the 10 drivers behind him, as everyone through 11th place could leave Darlington with the point lead should circumstances go their way. On pole for tonight's event is Roberto Crown Jr. for Fingai Saitomi, a first career pole for him after last week being the best weekend for Fingai Saitomi in their team's history. Enough chat, 110 laps and 150 miles awaits us at Darlington Raceway. Let's get to the start. Pace car pulls in. We're going to have 110 laps to figure out who comes out on top on this abrasive, difficult oval at Darlington Raceway. Roberto Crown Jr. takes the green for the first time in his career, and we're underway in the final race of the second third of WTSS Season 7. Through 1 and 2 we go quite immediately. Crown is able to clear for the lead, and Daniel Voiles is able to clear Chris Louviere for that second position, but Louviere now trying to clear back ahead of the 66 of William Duncan, his teammate, down into turn 3. You can see multiple lines are available through 3 and 4. You can cut down to the bottom or swing up to the top, try and carry the momentum off. Daniel Voiles chose the first option, cuts underneath for the lead on Roberto Crown Jr. Into turn number 1 we go on the second lap of the race. Crown keeps the lead on the exit at turn 2. Still with the advantage. Louviere trying to sneak to the outside of the 13 and does so for that second spot to try and get it back after qualifying there. Off of turn number 4 we go. Louviere with the momentum. He's going to be side by side with Voiles into turn number 1 here. Can he pull it off? Voiles with the advantage on the inside lane, but if Louviere can keep alongside by the exit, he cannot do it. He would have had the advantage if he had. Crown starts to gap away as they continue to fight for second, and now they fight for third as Duncan tries to clear the 83 on the inside of 3 and 4. Cuts to the bottom of Voiles now for the second position. Side by side on the exit at turn number 4 as Roberto Crown Jr. extends his lead even further. William Duncan looks for second into turn number 1. And he's going to clear the 13 on the exit of the corner. William Duncan leads it, runs second at Darlington now, chasing Roberto Crown Jr. And now here comes Shrimp Engritz, still a championship dark horse. To the bottom for third. Inside on Duncan into 1 and 2. Give the second position to Shrimp Engritz now. Don't count out Jeffrey Fingai back there. The other Fingai Saitomi car. And they're the team that they affiliate with, CJ Racing with Chris Dodd. Everybody's up in the mix. One and a half seconds now out front for Roberto Crown Jr. And some big names with troubled starts and troubled qualifying positions. Sean Angel towards the back. Huji Yan. Yuki Tamura. Big names in this championship picture. Same with Tristan Wilhoit. Jeff McLennan has had an unbelievable start. He's up into the 18th spot now. Crown still with a 1.4 second lead, but Engritz looked quicker that time by. Identical lap times between the two of them that time. As we see, they've single filed out for the most part through the top 10. That's Ryan Reid taking 9th away from Alex Bignacco, trying to get back up the top 10. Big battles going on back here. Brandon Krasta struggling a bit after qualifying up in the 13th position. As reigning champion Mark Nutt swings around the outside of him through 3 and 4. And the lead has absolutely dwindled out front. It's down to 1 second now for the rookie. Seven tenths, another 3/10 gained by Shrimp Engritz that time around. Finn Guy has taken 6th away and is now trying to chase after the top 5. As Crown comes across the line this time to complete the 10th lap of the race. And the gap shrinks even further, but only by a 10th that time. Engritz gaining ever closer on Roberto Crown Jr. We're going to have a fight for the lead here briefly here in Darlington, and it's going to be Crown Jr. who's going to be under major threat from Shrimp Engritz, still one of your dark horses for this championship. An outside shot. Trying to get Hamilton Autosport 2 straight championships. It's being rumored in the paddock that team is going to be switching manufacturer after only a 1-year stint with Mazda to try and go look at other offers. As here comes Engritz to the bottom. Peeking underneath Crown Jr. Side by side for the lead down the front straightaway. At start finish. 1,000th in favor of Crown Jr., but Engritz, with the preferred line on the inside through 1 and 2, is going to clear before they get corner off, and Shrimp Engritz now leads at Darlington. Crown does not have much of a fight to be able to put up. Give the lead to Shrimp Engritz, and now let's see if he can start to gap it. Look at Chris Louviere on the bottom of Daniel Voiles for the 4th position. Maverick's speedway ringer of sorts, trying to get another solid result as he comes into this race 6th in the standings through sheer consistency alone. Bignacco attacks Ryan Reid to try to get 9th back, but can't do it. The 90 swings back around the outside on the exit of turn number 2. Much battling going on through the midfield and towards the back, as Chris Dodd continues to fight with Jeffrey Finguy for 6th. I will say, once Engritz has gotten the lead, he has not been able to pull a gap on Crown Jr. like I would have thought he would. But he is starting to inch away from that 46 through the opening few laps of this race. Look at Jake Stevens in the 18. He looks like he's coming on strong as the run goes on. Darlington Raceway is one of those tracks where tire wear is all you can think about as this race goes on. The fall off here is just absolutely immense. And so if you end up over pushing your tires, it gets even worse. It snowballs. As we see 2 Maverick teammates now going to battle. They're the lowest 2 running in the field, with Duncan and Louviere being up in the top 5. Wilhoit versus McLennan for a 20th place right now, 21st place right now. They would want to be higher, especially with McLennan being the main one in the championship picture. Even with Wilhoit still being an outside chance at the championship, McLennan, they'd really want to be up near the front. Engritz still with the lead, but not pulling away as far from Crown as I was expecting. Crown's car looks really good through 1 and 2. But through 3 and 4, that's Engritz's part of the track. He absolutely bolts away through 3 and 4. It's the way that you set the car up. You can be good on one end of the racetrack and be not so great on the other half. It's the balance of the setups around here. You just can't quite make it work for both. As Alex Bignacco clears the 90 of Ryan Reid, the championship leader, for that 9th position. And drops the 90 to the tail end of the top 10. As Reid tries to cut back around the outside of the 29, not going to be able to find anything there, and in fact might put himself vulnerable to DJ Curtis and Jake Stevens in the 54 and 18. Down into turn number 1 we go. Mark Nutt trying to rip it around the outside of Logan Hill in the back there. Bignacco clears away from Reid. Can Curtis clear the 90? Yes, he can. No, he can't. Digs deep on the outside on the exit. Barely misses the outside wall, and Ryan Reid keeps 10th for now. But Mark Nutt was successful in his move around the outside of the 11 of Logan Hill. You can make that outside lane work. You really got to work for it. Louviere inside on Daniel Voiles for the 4th position. Can he clear the 13 by the exit? Not quite this time. Voiles fights it. Stays on the outside down the back straightaway. Through 3 and 4 we go. Louviere trying to clear. And can't quite pull up in front of the 13, or at least he could have, but he wasn't confident enough to do so. Into 1 and 2, but I think this time he's going to keep it. Chris Louviere up into 4th place now, ahead of Daniel Voiles, to try and set his sights on the lead 3. And Curtis, DJ Curtis does get Ryan Reid for 10th now. The 90 car not looking like a top contender here in this first run. And Roberto Crown Jr. has found a bit of a second wind here as the run has gone on. He's climbed right up to the back of the 59 of Shrimp Engritz. So now we're going to possibly see a second fight for the lead between the same 2 protagonists here, but in reverse order from the last time. Those 2 are still the fastest men on the racetrack, though, so it's not like they're under threat from 3rd place on back. Look at this absolute hornet's nest back here, and Sean Angel, Yuki Tamura, and Huji Yan are just wishing for it to be over. And the McLennan and Wilhoit machines just have no speed. They are dropping like rocks. Engritz with a great lap. Gaps by 2/10 over Crown that lap. Jake Stevens is showing he has speed. He was the 2nd car on the racetrack that time by. And the rookie, who started off the season absolutely blindingly, has had a bit of a lull in performance the last multitude of rounds now. Mark Nutt tried the same outside move he pulled on Logan Hill earlier, but couldn't do it. Now he's going to switch to the inside, attacking Ryan Reid for the 12th position, but he's too far back, and he ultimately ends up backing out of the corner. Is he going to be under pressure from Sebastian Van Dalen in the 81? Van Dalen looking just as strong as his teammate Jake Stevens. He peaks to the outside of the 57 now. But unable to get alongside, at least for now. Stevens now attacking DJ Curtis for 10th. And Bignacco on Bisceglia for 8th place. Bignacco's going to get Bisceglia. Stevens will not get Curtis. look at Bisceglia around the outside, trying on Bignacco to get it back, but can't do it. Chris Dodd clearing Jeffrey Finguy for 6th place. Crown Jr. is still not letting Engritz get away. Duncan is finally starting to drift back a bit from these guys. He's not miles behind. A second and a half back is still kind of nothing in the grand scheme of things, but definitely starting to drift back a bit. Louvier seems to have completely gapped away from the Daniel Voiles machine. Still distantly in 4th, though, as Mark Nutt is on the move. He's caught Jake Stevens now for the 11th spot, and it will be a 4-way fight for 9th here in a brief moment. They're not careful. Defending race winner Patrick Smith all the way back in 17th right now. Engritz has brought the lead out to almost half a second, which would be the biggest margin he has had so far since taking the lead from pole sitter Roberto Crown Jr. Stevens went for it. Can't say he didn't try, but he fails to make the move on Bisceglia and loses out to DJ Curtis in the process. Look at Mark Nutt trying that outside move he's been so good at all day. And he pulls it off again, round the outside. Major momentum around the outside of turn 4. Clears the 18 before they even get down to turn number 1. And now goes on Curtis, possibly, for that 10th position. That 57 car is hooked up and moving to the front. And a double pass for Mark Nutt takes him into the top 10. And now I would imagine he's going to attack Kyle Bisceglia here. Round the outside again through 3 and 4. That 57 just finds grip wherever he wants it, but Bisceglia barely shuts the door in time. Nutt cuts underneath now on the exit of turn 4. Into turn 1 we go, side by side for the 9th spot. Mark Nutt finds the grip on the bottom lane. Can't quite clear the 27 though, and might put himself majorly vulnerable to the guys behind. No, he doesn't, but he's unable to clear on the 27 and pays the price for it. Look at how much he gets back immediately in the corner after. That 57 car is so strong mid-corner. Ryan Reid holding off Alex Constantine as Jake Stevens on DJ Curtis, who was making a move on Mark Nutt but can't find the confidence on the inside lane. Stevens are on the outside of the 54. Through 1 and 2 on the exit, gets the position. Back up into 11th place. Big group of cars back here. And again, still contains 3 championship contenders. Sean Angel, Hu Jian, and Yuki Tamura, who's on a run of momentum like she has never seen in quite some time, but she cannot find the speed today. Multiple championship contenders struggling today here at Darlington. Engritz has nearly inched the lead out to a 2nd, but Crown Jr. pulls it back by a 10th that lap. Let's give a shout out to Louvier, who just did 2/10 quicker than our race leader that time. So keep an eye on him. Mark Nutt, under pressure from Jake Stevens for the 10th spot. The 18 car on the move once again. But that inside lane on the exit is so tough, especially when the tires have aged. Unable to get the 57. Might be back under pressure from Curtis. Will Mark Nutt go for it again on Kyle Bisceglia? Yes, he will. Outside move, but he can't find the mid-corner speed and has to settle behind him. With no threat from behind, Nutt now goes for the move into turn 1 again. He is being so aggressive with Bisceglia, trying to scare him out of the corner. But that inside lane just won't work if you're not far alongside. Now he puts himself vulnerable once again to the cars behind. And the 49 of Hujian is reporting a fuel leak, a major one. Fuel pressure is dropping on that car. And most of the time, a fuel leak is a terminal issue in this series. Very hard to get a fuel cell switched out of these things in time. You gotta rewire the whole fuel system and everything. That is probably a race ender for Hujian in such an unfortunate fashion. And as she comes into the pits, that's basically race over for the Season 2 champion before it has even had a chance to get going. Crown Juniors cut the lead back down again to under half a second. And look at Jake Stevens on Mark Nutt through 1 and 2. Swings around the outside of the 57. Clears for the 10th spot. Now goes for a move on Bisceglia into 3 and 4. Peeks to the outside. Doesn't have the run of momentum to try and make a move. As look at Finguy. Jeffrey Finguy for back trying to get 6th back from Chris Dodd. Not able to do so that time. And Alex Constantine will clear the 90 of Ryan Reid for the 13th spot. That is a really important pass. Reid has been continuing to struggle as this run has gone on. And look at Nutt, back around the outside possibly on Jake Stevens. He's just getting so aggressive. He's making all these moves that just aren't sticking. But he has such a fast car that I think if he had some clean air, he'd be rivaling the leader's lap times right now. But he's just got to be able to wield that power correctly. Stevens peeking to the outside on Bisceglia through 3 and 4. Can he get to the outside of the 27? Unable to do so, but he does the same move Mark Nutt has been trying to pull off so many times in a row now. Nearly fully alongside into turn 1. Bisceglia has to lift as they go side by side through 1 and 2. It's a good effort from Jake Stevens, but as these tires wear, you have to clear before the exit or else it's no go. He keeps the 10th position, but he loses in the battle to Bisceglia. I almost think he's immediately going to try something again here. Inside on Bisceglia. Much bigger run than he had before. Nearly ahead before start-finish. Into turn 1. Stevens trying to clear before they get to mid-corner. Trying to be able to swing back up in front of the 27. Oh, it's marginal. But Bisceglia keeps it alongside. Side by side into turn 3. Stevens with the run. Riding that seam down on the bottom to try and get the run off on the exit. Now Bisceglia's got the advantage on the exit. Stevens leads at start-finish between the two of them. Momentum into the corner for Bisceglia, though. Stevens unable to get far enough alongside like he did last time. Exit at turn number 2. The 10th position stays Jake Stevens as Bisceglia manages to fend him off after 3 straight laps of fighting. And we have a side-by-side battle for the 3rd position. Chris Louviere is on a run right now, and he clears teammate William Duncan for 3rd before they can even think about fighting back. Big move and a big run from him going. And Jake Stevens does the same in 1 and 2. Stevens this time will get to keep it ahead of Bisceglia. And look at Mark Nutt, realizing the vulnerability that 27 through 3 and 4. Cuts underneath, not just 1, but 2 cars. Mark Nutt trying to pull another double pass. Side by side with Jake Stevens into turn number 1. Stevens fights back on the outside. Now he's got the preferred line as Nutt tries to clear before the corner exit. Can't do so. Stevens with the advantage on an exit of turn number 2. Keeps the 9th position for now, but Mark Nutt has officially cleared Kyle Bisceglia and is now attacking Stevens for the 9th spot. Look at Patrick Smith making some moves up the order. Up into the top 15 now. Your defending race winner here. He showed good pace last season here. And it looks like on the long run, that 77 car has actually really got something to it. Man, oh man, McLennan with nothing right now in 27th. Same with Yuki Tamura and Sean Angel. And we all know what happened to Huji-Yon with that fuel leak issue. Smith on Reid now for 14th place, and the championship leader might drop down to the tail end of the top 15. Unable to clear the 90 on the exit at 2. Preferred line for Reid down the back straightaway now. Into turn 3, still side by side with Patrick Smith though. Through 3 and 4, I think it's going to be preferred line for Smith actually here. Reid gets the run off. Side by side. Down the front straightaway, across start finish. Multiple battles going on at the moment. A lot to carry on into 1 and 2. Constantine tries to get past Curtis. Smith tries to get past Reid. Neither move is successful. We continue on in Darlington. Lap traffic approaching. Shrimp Engritz is going to have to begin to figure out how to clear traffic now. Some of that traffic are some pretty stout drivers and cars. And there it is. Patrick Smith tries to clear. Reid digs deep though on the exit at 2. Can't pull alongside. Patrick Smith takes 14th. Crown Jr. still keeping within striking distance of Shrimp Engritz should something go wrong to the 59. Bisceglia keeps the 11th spot ahead of Curtis. And now Curtis might be under pressure from Constantine. Almost to the halfway point here at Darlington. And we have just encountered our first lap traffic. Here comes Engritz through 1 and 2. Makes it look easy. Didn't even have to lift to get around the outside of Bobby Frazier there. And now immediately swings to the outside of Wang Zawat now through 3 and 4. But is unable to squeeze to the outside of the 08. And now decides, okay, fine. I'll go down the inside into 1. But it might not be as simple as that. Because of the way that the profiling is through 1 and 2 with the old tires. Engritz has to stay alongside for half a lap here. Through 3 and 4. There we go. Now he's going to clear on the exit of 4. Crown Jr. unable to get to the outside of Frazier through 3 and 4. And he's also going to pull the same move on the inside into 1. But it's a much worse choice with how far back he already was. And he's unable to get through on the lapper. Ryan Reid now under pressure from Sebastian Van Dalen for 16th place. The championship leader continues to fall. As Constantine attacks Kyle Bisceglia for 11th place. Crown Jr. clears Frazier as Engritz now approaches the 7 of Ryan Bolden and soon to be a massive group of cars right up ahead of him. And I think Constantine, with that run through 3 and 4 he just got, is going to clear Kyle Bisceglia for 11th place through 1 and 2. Look at Eugene DeMax in the 4, showing something here. Up into the top 15, chasing Patrick Smith. Angritz has cleared Bolden and is now on Elijah Innes in the 1 car. Trying to make a move on him now to put him a lap down. And the driver lowest in the rookie standings fights back, though, to try and keep the position. You never know in a WTSS race when a caution could come out, so to try and stay on the lead lap is a very important thing to do. Now Bisceglia under pressure from his reigning race winner teammate now, as Curtis gets ganged up on by the Van Dalen teammates. Smith gets by the 54. Into 3 and 4 is now going to probably, swing to the outside to try and get his teammate on the exit. Bisceglia digs deep though. Curtis cuts underneath, finds a way past both of them almost. He's going to clear the 27 into 1 almost. But it's not going to work out, and I think Smith now has picked the wrong line. And Bisceglia is the big winner in all this to keep the position. Angritz on Gibson and Nugroho. Not preferred line, though. Continuing to fight with lap traffic. 3 wide. Shrimp Angritz to the bottom 3 on the lap traffic. They nearly make contact on the exit of turn 4. Seems like a bit of an unnecessary risk from Angritz, if you ask me. I think he realized it and he backed out completely. But if this traffic doesn't clear up soon, Roberto Crown Jr. is just around the corner, approaching quick. Patrick Smith clears Bisceglia, his teammate now, as he goes after DJ Curtis in the 54. Oh, and the 26, Cale Teskar Jr. blows an engine from 19th place. And the rookie, once again with another disappointing result, is going to be out after just past halfway in this event, but will bring no caution with him. And a tough break for him as he pulls into the pits. Angritz now encountering the 45 of Arnie Nugroho. As he has already cleared James Gibson. That is now Crown's next driver that he has to try and get through. And there's Patrick Smith trying again on DJ Curtis, but can't do it. Meanwhile, Eugene DeMax has cleared Bisceglia for that 14th position. And now Chris Louviere has encountered his first lap traffic as well at the back of the field. He's now closed the gap down to 4 seconds out front too, as he easily makes the moves on both Frazier, and Wongzawad, who really, I don't think, realized the 83 was going to make that move and nearly put him in the wall.
Wongzawad's been a difficult lapper.
He has.
He kind of chopped off at Ingritz earlier.
Yes, he did, and I think that's just inexperience still. Even though Wongzawad's had a good run of momentum the last few weeks, that is still inexperience of knowing where your car is at in space with with cars coming up behind you, especially on a track like this. Not many tracks on the calendar do the leaders actually go around the outside of the lap traffic. 1.6 seconds the gap. Angritz just seems to be clearing the traffic just that little bit faster than Crown Jr. right now, but now he's been stuck behind the 45 of Nugroho for a while, but I almost wonder if that's a byproduct of how hard he's been racing the traffic, because I think that might just mean his tires are a little bit more worn out than those around him. Or maybe just a little overheated. As he cuts down to the inside of Nugroho here, as we have now reached just 44 laps to go here now at Darlington. Race has gone by quick. It stayed green the whole way so far. Not many times in WTSS oval races do you get to see caution-free events, but we are right now on a 60, it'll be 67 laps complete this time, completely under green. And Louviere is absolutely flying right now. He is clearing lap traffic like a hot knife through butter. He has yet to have a single lapper give him more than a lap worth of hassle.
This one might be the first, though. He caught Gibson in a bad spot. My question is, when do you think the pit window is going to open up?
Anytime right now. Literally about this lap through the next 3 is going to be about when you'd see pit stops.
That will be the moment of truth for this race. I mean, Darlington's a tire shredder, so strategy is probably going to be the difference maker.
Extremely important, because you undercut too far. Yes, you'll have about a 10-second lead by the end of the pit cycle, but that 10-second lead will dwindle in 5 laps. I mean, it really is that bad around here if you've got worn tires. And the same way goes, if you pit too early and you're one of the leaders and you're in the middle of the lap traffic, if the traffic overcuts you, you're going to have to deal with lap cars that are trying to pass you. And that can slow you down even worse than trying to pass a slower car. So it's going to be a fine margins right here. I'd say some of the guys towards the midfield and the back of the field honestly should just gamble and try to come in early. They're not going to have to deal with the same issues later on. But guys at the front, it is a real damned if you do, damned if you don't type situation where there is positives to both an undercut or an overcut, and there are negatives to both as well. As
it's going to be a cat and mouse game between the crew chiefs. Which one's going to blink first?
I don't see any takers yet. There's our first one. Just as we were cutting to the turns 3 and 4 camera, it's Daniel Voiles, who was currently running in the 5th position, 13 seconds back from the lead. But the question is, will we see a cascade of cars follow with him, or are we going to see people just stretch it as far as they can and hope that if a caution comes out, they can catch it before they've made their stop? Because that is also another factor. This is the dreaded mid-cycle caution is always a threat looming whenever there's a green flag pit cycle on an oval. There's another one. It's Dodd. That is a direct response to Voiles. They were both on the same piece of racetrack at the same time, and they're both in the pits now. Finguy is going to pass both of them and get up into the 5th position temporarily, but I have a feeling now this is where you're going to start to see people peeling into the pits, car after car. Engritz is in, so we already know the decision-making process behind the leaders. Shrimp Engritz undercuts the rest of his rivals. Crown Jr. now has to deal with Nugroho, and Louviere, I think that's the first time I've seen him fail to make a move on a lapper, and that was Elijah Innes on the exit of turn 4. William Duncan is in the 66, undercutting his own teammate. Patrick Smith, Kyle Bichelia, the 2 Van Dalen teammates, coordinating together. There's Crown, there's Louviere. No strategy difference between 2nd and 3rd in the race, but 1 lap fresher tires could absolutely pay dividends as this track continues to shred their rubber. Finguy is in. Benyako stays out. I think it'd be easier to say who doesn't pit yet. Benyako goes another lap in the 29. So does Constantine and Curtis. Championship leader Ryan Reid knows he's got to try something. He stays out a little bit longer. Multiple others towards the midfield. Now you're going to see the difference between old and new tires at Darlington. Look at Daniel Voiles. Through 1 and 2 on the not preferred line on the inside lane. It's just a bit of a jam there on the exit. He doesn't have anywhere he can put it. That's the difficulty as well with undercutting, is if you catch a bad group of traffic with 3 to 4 second a lap faster tires, it won't matter. But look at that. It's like Superman around the outside in that 13. Does anyone dare go another lap? I don't know. Can you even muster it? Alex Constantine thinks so. He's going yet another lap in the 64. Now these are people that are absolutely not caring about, well, we'll have better tires later on. These are people saying, if a caution comes out right now, we've got it made. But Ryan Reid joins Constantine in the pits now. But we still have more people choosing to really put a fight up. Is Sebastian Van Dalen now gets to lead a lap here. Where are the leaders in comparison to one another? Angritz has come out way ahead of Crown Jr. and Louviere, but he's got 1 lap older tires now. There's Van Dalen into the pits, as is Giroux. What about Carter? Yes, he's in. Shepard is in. I think the rest of the people that had not pit yet are all coming in, except for the one of Elijah Innes, who is going for yet another lap as they split him nearly 4 wide through 3 and 4. And now we have a really awkward situation where there's only one guy on the racetrack who has not come in for his fresh tire pit stop, and the entire field has nearly 3 seconds to 4 seconds a lap on him, and he becomes an absolute landmine for any of these faster cars to catch. And here's a difficult one here. Innes is probably going to want to come in. He will. And that's going to really check up effective race leader Shrimp Angritz into turn 3. Angritz takes the lead through 3 and 4 to get back on the point here at Darlington Raceway. But now, with just over 30 laps left in this event, the question is that one lap tire deficit to those behind going to affect his finish? And look how much staying out that long is going to hurt. Ryan Reid went from 15th place on track to 29th. He's going to have monstrably faster tires once those things get up to temp in comparison to the leaders. But the track position lost is absolutely immense. And ultimately, if a caution came out right now, he'd be absolutely ruined, especially in a double points event that could swing the championship in a major direction. .3 seconds currently, and now comes an even more difficult aspect to clearing traffic as the leader now. Is that, especially when he was one of the earliest ones who came in, you're not going to be much faster, if faster at all, than these other lappers. Most of the time, it's going to be the lappers attacking you. DJ Curtis, though, is one of the early takers, and he still seems to be struggling a bit, and so Angritz will be attacking him, but Sean Angel and others really are going to be trying to make their mark and sail back around the race leader here. And that could make things really hairy. And not only to mention that, but the more he battles with this traffic, Roberto Crown Jr. and Chris Louviere approach at a rapid rate of knots. Through 1 and 2. Very, very important that Angritz clears this right here on Curtis. Oh, he can't quite. But that is very important. He managed to stay alongside at least. He's got a better pace advantage than Curtis, so he's going to clear the 54 here. But look at Crown Jr. and look at Louviere. Angritz leads with a 5-car buffer, 4-car buffer to Roberto Crown Jr. Championship leader Ryan Reid has some of the freshest tires on the racetrack. Probably the second freshest, only to Elijah Innes, of course. So he's going to be making some very aggressive and very important moves as this race progresses. 3 wide, splitting DJ Curtis down the middle almost. Angel backs out of it very smartly here as Roberto Crown Jr. sets his sights to try and chase back after Angritz. The gap down to under a second.
Things are really starting to heat up here.
It will be very heated the moment that we can see that 46 in some clean air in comparison to the 59. Even the 83 as well. He's got to clear this group of cars now. But I think he knows that Ryan Reid has fresher tires than even himself. And so while he probably has a car advantage in terms of the way it's handling, just got to be patient, especially with how slow that 54 of Curtis is. Just make sure you don't get bottlenecked up behind him. And now, Crown Jr. catching the Vita Bassa and Roush battle. And the more these two fight for position, that's going to be worse for the 46. Because not only do you have to contend with the fact that you're going to be on a different tire strategy from some of these lappers, but some of these lappers are fighting for position with each other for points that they want to earn. Crown cuts underneath Vita Bassa as they head into 1 here. So that is very important that he gets this done. And he's unable to clear. See, you gotta realize there's different tires here. Vita Bassa probably has slightly fresher tires than the 46 of Crown, but Crown has fresher tires than Engritz, and even gained on Engritz that lap while battling. Engritz is in trouble, in my opinion, here. It's going to be 25 to go across the line this time, and I don't think that Shrimp Engritz is the favorite right now. Well, betting on the fact that these guys will clear the traffic.
Maybe we're having some trouble. I don't think Ingrid's made the right call here.
I really think that the one top position that could really be discerned in terms of what their strategy should be, the one thing you could have said is, if you're the leader, don't be the first one in. But I really think that they wanted to get ahead of the gaggle of lappers that were ahead of them, but it just didn't work, as Louvier cuts underneath point leader Ryan Reid and Sean Angel, and even with a massive tire advantage for the 90 car, the handling on that thing is just not allowing him to take advantage of it. Not able to clear Angel this time, but that 83 obviously looks very quick through 3 and 4. Look at Scott Roush now, the 6 car actually catching the race leader Engritz to unlap himself. And there's very few, if not any, cars coming up that Engritz is outright quicker than on the racetrack. Some drivers on alternate strategies trying to climb up positions and make amends for a bad start to the race. Like Mark Nutt in 7th place at the moment now. And both Crown Jr. and Louvier still stuck in traffic as Scott Roush has cleared the 59 of Shrimp Engritz. And again, even in traffic, Crown Jr. and company are running about the same to quicker lap times than Engritz, but I feel like if Crown can clear this 02 car, it's going to be even bigger of an advantage to try and get through, but it's just such a difficult balance. We saw it here last season. Patrick Smith was able to make massive gains by jumping ahead of the big pack of midfield to back marker cars, and did not have to worry about being caught, even with the older tires. This might be a similar thing going on with Engritz, but again, like I said, Vita Bassa is still running 0.2 a lap quicker than Engritz, and if I'm Crown Jr., honestly at this point, knowing how difficult it's been to try and clear Vita Bassa, same with Louvier, I would just follow the lappers to the back of the leader here. But that lap, it was a 0.3 loss by Vita Bassa, and I almost, it's so difficult, because if Vita Bassa can stay consistently quicker, they'll catch him, but if he can't, they're not going to. 20 to go this time to 29, or 19 laps to go at start finish. That's the moment right there for Roberto Crown Jr. Nearly clears Vita Bassa on the exit of 4. And if he can get alongside and far enough ahead through 1 and 2, Roberto Crown Jr. clears the 0-2 of Fabio Vita Bassa, and now has clean air between himself and rival Shrimp Engritz. Might be the most important pass of Roberto Crown Jr.'s short WTSS career so far. And there's that tire advantage for Ryan Reid now starting to kick in.
Yeah, Louvier washed out in the corner, and yeah, that it does not seem like that he's looking as strong as earlier.
The long run, it looks like they traded off short run for long run speed, and it looks like unable to pass the traffic was not how to take advantage of that. As a 1/10 of a second gained by Crown Jr. that lap, and I would assume with multiple laps in clean air, it's going to get better. I think Louvier's just getting desperate now. I think he knows that the only chance he has to win this race is to get through these guys as soon as possible, and it's getting worse and harder to do that as the laps continue on. Another 1/10 and a half gained by Crown Jr. 1.2 seconds now, as Ryan Reid is now starting to take advantage of his better tires on the longest part of the run as these tires can start to die off. But he's still, even the handling on that car just is not great, even with the fresher tires. I guess he was just doomed from the start, regardless of what strategy he chose, because if he was on worse tires than the rest of the field right now, I honestly wonder if he'd be falling even farther back. 1 second now between Engritz and Crown Jr. Can Fingai Saitomi get 2 wins on the bounce? Homestead and Darlington back-to-back could be a possibility between their 2 drivers. Another 10th-and-a-half gained. 9/10 of a second now. And a tire failure for Chris Dodd in the 8 car. And he's going to limp back around. It was on the front straightaway just past the pit entrance. And the man who was running in 6th position is going to have to limp around this entire 1 1/3 mile racetrack to get back to pit lane.
That was one of the first cars to pit.
Yes, it was. And Dodd, the Fingai Saitomi Alliance, all running up in the top 11 positions, but not anymore. That CJ Racing partnership paying dividends towards the latter stages of this season. As there he is for the lead. Roberto Crown Jr. on Shrimp Engritz as they go absolutely crazy for position just ahead of the leaders. Now it's a game. Who clears the traffic the best? Who can use lappers as a pick? The tire advantage to Crown Jr. And in my opinion, how it's been going so far, the traffic advantage to Engritz. He has been so good at clearing lappers. But will it even matter if Crown Jr. can just rip it around the outside and find some momentum down the front straightaway? Cutting to the inside, back for the lead for the first time since the opening laps. Roberto Crown Jr. on Shrimp Engritz through 1 and 2, side by side. The rookie goes underneath the seasoned veteran. Engritz hangs on the preferred line for now. Through 3 and 4, he's going to want to go to the outside of Stavinaugh, but Stavinaugh already cuts up the racetrack a bit. And he's unable to peek to the outside of the 80. Crown, dead heat across start-finish. Leads that lap with 11 laps to go. Trying to cut underneath both of them at once. Can he clear Stavinaugh? Oh, not quite. Engritz keeps his hopes up just a little bit longer.
I thought Louvier was out of this, but he gained like half a second while these two were fighting.
As they continue to be stuck in traffic, Chris Louvier has found something and has cleared back ahead of Ryan Reid.
Are the lappers in that group really that quick?
They've all got fresher tires. Especially Reid, but Reid's the one with the bad setup. Stavinaugh finally loses out to Roberto Crown Jr., and now it's up to Engritz to actually fight for this. He's got to use his experience to be able to figure out how to find a way back through on Roberto Crown Jr. And now Crown Jr. on Scott Roush. But he puts himself on the vulnerable inside line. 1.2 seconds. Louvier's cleared all the traffic. We possibly got a 3-way fight for the win here at Darlington now. It depends on how bad Crown Jr. wants it and how badly the traffic affects him. Sean Angel now trying to unlap himself from his teammate. Every position is important points for Angel, so he is in the championship fight. He doesn't care that his teammate's fighting for the race win. Because that right there, that's not a teammate anymore. That's a championship rival. Crown Jr. with a great lap. But he's once again going to catch up to the back of the Mitchell Mark and Scott Roush battles. And Engritz is going to have to try again on Stavinaugh. He cuts to the inside of the 80. He's just got nothing left. I think he's burned his stuff up. Crown Jr. into 1, trying to peek to the outside of the 6 of Scott Roush. It's going to be 6 laps to go this time by. Crown Jr. in a position he's never been in his WTSS career, in his rookie season, trying to get his first career victory, and Fingai Saitomi's second straight. But the traffic not playing the part that he wants it to, as they're now starting to slow him up to the point that Engritz and Louvier are both quicker.
though I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Roush cuts underneath Mark. If they start fighting ahead of this 46, it could get ugly. Into one.
Yeah, I don't know if Louvier burned up his stuff or what, but he is stalled out.
I think he really made one hard push to get through those slower cars. Got through them, but might have overheated his tires, and I think there's not enough time to cool him back off. Through 3 and 4, Crown, indecisive, doesn't know what he wants to do with Roush. Loses a bit of momentum mid-corner.
Yeah,
Ingrid's still unable to find a way through on Stavinaugh.
Ingrid's needs to make something happen now.
Stavinaugh is who he has to pass, and he's not doing it. But don't look now, but Stavinaugh ran a quicker lap than Crown last time by.
We're just kind of we are just locked in a stalemate right now.
At the moment being. Through 3 and 4. Roush once again on Mitchell Mark, just ahead of the race leader. 3 laps to go for Roberto Crown Jr. The gap grows back up to 7/10. Oh, can he squeeze to the outside of the 6 here? That would be important. He can't do it. And it's a big holdup. He peeks to the outside on the 6, but he overshoots the corner and can't carry the momentum. Louvier to the back of Angel. Ah, I think it's too late for the 83. 2 to go for Roberto Crown Jr. Roush and Mark are going to fight all the way to the checkered flag. And I don't think that Ingrid's is even close enough that even if something happened in front of Crown Jr., it could affect the ultimate battle for this win. And Angel finally sneaks to the outside of his teammate. I almost wonder if Ingrid's has given up and just let him through to try and go get Stavinaugh. White flag. Crown Jr. inside on Scott Roush to put him a lap down on the final lap. Through 1 and 2, he's unable to clear the 6. But that slow up he's going to get is not going to matter. And as they head down the back straightaway on one of the most difficult ovals on the entire earth, Roberto Crown Jr. comes through 3 and 4, scored the pole for the first time, and Fingai Saitomi's run of momentum continues. Roberto Crown Jr. is a WTSS winner at Darlington. And the pressure was withstood by the 46. And Roberto Crown Jr., fresh off of his career best finish last week at Homestead of 3rd place, backs it up with a victory in Darlington in one of the most important races of his entire career. And if Fingai Saitomi keeps him around for another season, that is going to be a driver to look out for, and someone whose season has started off quietly has turned very loud very quickly. Angritz gave it his all, but him and Louvier just could not clear the traffic as good as Crown. And then when Crown finally caught the traffic that he couldn't find a way past, it was too late. William Duncan, a quiet 4th place finish with Daniel Voiles back in 5th. Patrick Smith, Mark Nutt, Jake Stevens, Eugene DeMax, and Alex Benyako the top 10. Then it's Bichelia, Constantine Wilhoit, and a very proud Fingai in 14th, with Logan Hill rounding out the top 15. Only 17 cars on the lead lap in a race that went flag to flag, green flag, in 110 laps. The rest of your running order is as follows. Sean Angel salvaged the 19th place. Ryan Reid salvaged 21st. Yuki Tamura and Jeff McLennan were able to get 27th and 24th respectively. Huji Yan is possibly out of your championship contention now with a fuel leak, and the only other DNF being Cale Teskar Jr. in 39th with an engine failure. But absolute perseverance was the story of the day. Angritz made the wrong call, had the worst tires, Crown took advantage, and after losing the lead only 10 laps in, got it back and never was able to lose it once more. Congratulations to Roberto Crown Jr., your winner here at Darlington. We'll see you next race on the High Bank Short Track in Bristol, Tennessee for the last short track of the season.